What's going on, everyone? Another day, another sketch. So today I'm going to be using a reference again. This is from some old Hansen flash. Jack Hansen, I believe. So we're doing a traditional snake, dagger, and rose combination, which is already proven to be a bit difficult. It's great, I guess. And of course, as I go along, I kind of put my own twist on it. So, I'm working on a big painting right now, and I've been drawing non-stop today, and I have a little bit of a headache. But this is grind season, for me, at least. I'm not discontent with where I'm at, but I'm ready for more. I'm ready for a lot more. So, one thing that I always kind of have trouble with, it seems, is the proportions. Why? Why is that? So, I know that to get to where I want to be, I have to do a lot more than I've done, if that makes sense. And also, I don't understand how there are so many people who, if they don't have a tattoo scheduled, then there's no work to be done. That is so bizarre to me. And I guess it motivates me even more to really do this and do this the right way. Because like I said in an older video, I want to be a respectable artist, not just on the internet, not just because what I made might look good in a picture. Like I said before, this is a pretty sacred art form that has been passed down through the ages. And I just wanted to be respectful to this incredible lineage that I get to be a part of, and this is part of what that comes with that. I think everyone just wants to make it on the internet because that seems to be the quick way, and I can't knock it. That's why I'm on here making YouTube videos. But there is just something to be said about still doing things the old school way. I probably said that like 4 times just now. Seriously. Tattooing is the only option for many people. Sometimes I hear my coworkers joke about when it gets slow working somewhere else or whatever, making a joke about applying somewhere. That's not an option for me. That's not even something that I entertain at all. It almost doesn't even enter my mind because I don't entertain it. Or I entertain it so insignificantly. So, I guess I could talk about what I'm actually doing here. You know, I always start out with an orange is usually what I begin with. And then I switch to a red and then a blue. So, right now, with that being said, I'm switching over to my red pencil. And from last time I drew with colored pencil, I realized how much I was putting too much pressure, and it was making it difficult to go over with the next pencil. So what I'm basically saying is I'm drawing as light as I can with the pencil until it's time to do the final lines, and then I'll go heavier. So, starting back up here at the top, gonna work our way down just enough to refine it. But see, these pencils are waxy. They're wax pencils, I believe. Something like that. And it builds up. So you gotta be careful. Because when it builds up too much and then you try going over it again, it just looks messy. You can't even really see what you're looking at. It looks blurry almost. So that's why I'm practicing going with a lighter hand here. Okay. I really like this piece. It's a classic. It's pretty easy to do. Bam. So you can see how it's starting to really like look how it's supposed to look. And the thing is, you know, this is paper with no this is on paper with no rulers, no erasers, nothing like that. So it's not an iPad. I can't just move that over like I might need to. So we're just gonna have to keep rolling with the punches, and maybe we'll be able to do something about it here in a sec with the next color. So really, this mouth isn't quite what I wanted, because it needs to be, it is what it is. Not even gonna really go over that, because like I've said in my other videos, this is the sketchbook. This is the point of the sketchbook, is to make the mistakes here. Get experimental with this, so that when you go and make your real pieces, your mind has a little bit of an idea of what works and what doesn't work. You know what I'm saying? And this is referenced from Hall Hansen, like I said. So if you want to check out more of his Flash, that's who you're going to want to look up. However, this is a very classic image, so I'm sure you can find plenty of other artists who you can reference for this same iconography, whatever the fuck you call it. Okay. Now we're doing the rows. That's right. Just keep refining. The thing is, it really just comes down to intentional repetition. That's really all it comes down to. At a certain point, talent doesn't exist anymore. Talent is a sort of thing you have in the beginning, maybe as a kid or something, but when you are doing this for real, it is the people who put the time in over and over again that will always get ahead of those with talent. I know a lot of talented people, but I know even more people who put in the work and grew their skills, maximized their skills, because talent when you're young works for you. Everyone wants to help the talented person. Talent when you're older usually doesn't last, because now everyone's focused on themselves, really, unless there's something that you can do for them. But by this point, most of the talented people have just that. They have their talent, but they don't have anything to show for it. All they have is their talent. And that's not really much. That is potential. When you're a kid, people love kids with potential. When you're an adult, potential means nothing. Everyone's got potential to be something. You know what I mean? Now, imagine that you did have talent. You've always had talent. And alongside the talent, you were consistently building your skills and getting better. That's the secret formula. It's not just about what you want to do. It's not just about what you're good at. It's about what you are capable of doing and being good at, and it is something that you want to do. if you're good at it, but it's not what you want to do, then you won't put in the work. You won't put in the energy. You won't care as much. Just because you're talented at something doesn't mean it's what you want to do. And I think that's why a lot of talented kids get burnt out at some point, because it's their parents have sort of made it about them. And although the kid is talented, it's not what they want to do. So they're burnt. But if it's something that you have a knack for, and a knack doesn't mean necessarily that you're a genius at something. It just means that you sort of have always gravitated towards this. You are just kind of an athletic person. You are just sort of a musically inclined kind of person. That's your starting point. Because if you are not a musically inclined person and you try to follow being a musician, good luck getting out of that just being a hobby. And if that's all you want, then that's fine. But I'm sort of relating the point of the story to being a tattoo artist. I think there are a lot of people who were good at drawing or something, and let me gather my thoughts a little bit. I think a lot of people are not artistically inclined in drawing and just visual art, especially when it comes to something like tattooing, which requires more than just a skill set in artistry. It requires a skill set in craftsmanship. So, just because you can make a good painting doesn't mean you can do a good tattoo or be a good tattoo artist, because the way you created that painting may not require the level of craftsmanship that even comes near a tattoo. It's kind of like welding. There are certain techniques, and you're using a machine. You can't just throw paint when it comes to tattooing. So I think that there are so many people who just simply do not have the fine motor skills for a trade like this. However, they like it. They like the idea of being a tattoo artist so much that they have convinced themselves that this is what they should do. And while that is fine, it's just odd to me. And it's also odd as someone who I'm following a soul call, it feels like. And so many people are following the paper trail and getting into this. They think that, oh, it sounds fun to draw on people's skin and make bukus of money, which is not true. So they pursue it. And then you've got all these other people on social media who make it seem like being a tattoo artist is the same as being a celebrity. And that's cool, that's fine. But it really is so much more than that. And there's just a lot of people wanting to do this that I just don't think are true to this. And that's fine. A lot of people really do just want a picture on their skin. So those artists are available for that. But it's just interesting to me how tattooing is one of the last art forms I feel like that is still such a discipline. The idea of a mentorship and learning the machines. There's just so much to know and to respect about this art form. And I don't think that there are enough people in this who are in it for the right reasons. I don't really care how that may sound, judgmental or whatever. It's just, I see a lot of really good artists calling it quits all the time on the internet because of how saturated this business has become. And well, I think that you got to keep up with the times, and you can't really blame other people for what you got going on. You can figure out a solution. But it is so much that people shop for a tattoo artist based off of criteria that really has nothing to do with their skill as an artist. Like some people will go to a specific artist just because they have the aesthetic or political stance or whatever that they agree with, which I totally get it. Like, you want to be in a place where you feel comfortable. This is a permanent marking on your body, so you want it to be with someone who you at least can resonate with in some way. But there are so many people using that as a cop-out. And also, here's the other thing. Here's a hot take. I don't care how long someone has been tattooing. If you don't have artwork, and if you don't have quality artwork, I don't want a tattoo from you. I think it's weird to me to be a tattooer who doesn't make art on other mediums at all. I don't know. The best artists I've seen always do that. So I guess we'll go ahead and we'll do a little bit of shading on this, huh? But I'm really excited to do a sketchbook tour like way down the line on this, because I've been working in this sketchbook every day for the little over last month now. And it's just so cool. I was just flipping back through it today and just kind of seeing the progress and stuff, and I'm just really loving that I have implemented this new habit into my life. And I feel like just everything is a little bit better because I sketch every day now. It's like I can see how, even making bad drawings in here, I can see how at some point it will benefit me. Because it's like I'm mentally getting new info, and you know, even if the piece doesn't come out looking good, my mind has like achieved something, acquired. After that, I think a little bit differently about certain things when I do them. So nothing too crazy with the shading, just a little something, make it look kind of finished. All right, and that's what we've got today, a traditional snake and dagger, colored pencil, sketchbook, and this is what we did yesterday. So if you have a second, go check out that video. I'm gonna go ahead and date this one, and then that's it for the day. See, I think I'll date it in pencil today. Today is the 24th. So all right. See y'all next time.